cracking YouTube? My name is Neckpunch and welcome to episode 8 of Coteinn region Pokemon, a series where I take you through the region I'm designing and introduce some of the fake Pokemon that live within. In today's episode, we're checking out some new evolutions of old Pokemon that have evolutionary methods unique to this region.
Now, as many greater YouTubers than myself have unpacked, there are two main timelines in Pokemon.
The Mega Timeline and the Non-Mega Timeline. The Mega Timeline includes the events of Gen 6 and Gen 7, including the Gen 3 remakes. And the Non-Mega Timeline includes the first 5 generations, where, as Zinnia states in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, the evolution of Pokemon took a slightly different path where Mega Evolution is unknown. Because I had most of my ideas for Coteinn region Pokemon during the Gen 4, Gen 5 days, I imagine any game or story taking place in Coteinn to be an alternate Gen 6, or if you want, a Gen 6 on the non-Mega timeline.
And for that reason, the first Pokemon we're looking at is Banette.
Banette is my favorite ghost-type Pokemon. I love its design and I think it's such a great mix of mischief and creepiness. But it's one of those mons that, when I look at its disturbing dex entries and its creepy possessed puppet design, I see so much more potential. So on the southern landmass of Coteinn is a series of underground tunnels where deceased Pokemon have been laid to rest for centuries, called the Deep Coffin Catacombs. Deep in the crypt is a mysterious and ancient tome in a room guarded by many challenges. However, if a trainer is able to brave the gauntlet and approach the tome, it is said that reading from it with a Banette present will cause that Banette to evolve into Antoinette, the voodoo Pokemon. Its power is said to have been absorbed from the victims of 1,000 curses. With no regard for its own well-being, it will seek to destroy everything that opposes it. The thing that freaks me out most about Banette is that zip mouth. It's got this really weird, creepy, gimp sort of vibe, but it also reminds me of a comic book character I remember hearing about way back who had his mouth sewn shut, and I thought that'd be a cool way to push the Banette line further. But I wanted to keep the zip as well, and if not on the mouth, then where? And then it hit me, the neck. Then it can zip off its own head and do the whole headless ghost thing as well.
Now, in the last episode, I talked about the idea of extreme darkness as a new weather condition. And so Antoinette's ability, Ninja, would increase its evasiveness under these conditions.
Antoinette has 2 signature moves. Skull Bomb, which even though I promise I came up with it years ago, works exactly like Mind Blow, but is a ghost type move. And I think I changed the base power to 120, maybe a 30% HP cut, just to make it a little bit different. Its other move is called Voodoo Doll. It works exactly like Substitute, except the Pokemon which attacks the Substitute loses 50% of the Substitute's HP, or essentially, it loses 12.5% of Antoinette's max HP. The next Pokemon we're going to have a look at is a mon that didn't get a Mega or an Alolan form, but that I think was really deserving of something. And I still think that something should be an evolution.
And that Pokemon is Donphan.
East of the Stewpot Marsh is the mountainous Route 120, where some have reported to find an interesting fossil known as the Ivory Ore Fossil. This is not a fossil which can be revived into a new Pokemon, but rather a fossil which is known to function similar to an evolutionary stone, triggering evolution in one specific Pokemon, Donphan. If you find such a fossil and expose your Donphan, it will evolve into Hemophan, the ironhide Pokemon. They rapidly form deep bonds with others of their evolutionary line and can become dangerously protective of their allies. When enraged, they are capable of immense destruction. I think a regular evolution would be the best buff for Donphan, because not only would its evolution be cool, but it'd mean Donphan could use Eviolite. I think that would be awesome.
Hemophan's hidden ability, Impervious, makes it immune to fighting type moves.
And finally, we're going to return to my favorite area in the region, the Stewpot Marsh itself. In the forest surrounding the swamp is a giant flower. And just for the sake of difference, I decided not to put a moss rock or ice rock in this region. But this giant flower instead is what evolves Eevee into Leafeon. And it has the same effect on some other Pokemon too. One of those is Scyther. Now I know Scyther already has an evolution, but you gotta understand I had this idea even before Scyther was created. And though I may have redesigned it a bunch of times since then, it's a really old idea that I just refuse to let go of.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Thank goodness, I suppose, for branched evolutions, right? I imagine your Scyther would go and stand in the center of this giant flower, and then its petals would close up around the Scyther, completely enveloping it like a giant Venus flytrap. But instead of the plant's juices digesting the Pokemon, they mutate it and evolve it into Scyther, the blade Pokemon. Though generally stoic and silent, Scyther's ninja-like speed and razor-sharp pincers can unleash its ferocious inner warrior in the blink of an eye. The giant flower opens back up, and your newly evolved Scyther emerges. It may have a terrible defensive typing, but it's so fast that if played correctly, it won't be taking many hits at all. I've wanted Scyther to evolve into a flower mantis from the beginning, and I can't even explain why at this point. This one is pure nostalgia, so thanks for indulging me. And that wraps it up for this episode, so thank you so much for checking out the video. As Pokemon on the Switch continues to tease us with its inevitable existence, let me know in the comments section of any old Pokemon that you're hoping will get an evolution in the next game. And of course, feel free to tweet me a drawing. I know a bunch of you are super talented. Now, I mentioned that the giant flower replaces the moss rock in Coteinn. And in fact, there are 2 other locations like it. The Cooling Pool, a mysterious freezing pond that evolves Eevee into Glaceon, and the Foggy Path. But we're going to visit that location in the next episode. So until next time, my name is Neck Punch. Have a good one.